Now, the Mail on Sunday have lost their court battle with Meghan Markle over the publication of a letter from Meghan to her father. And while the Mail on Sunday's publisher, A&L, has to pay an undisclosed settlement, the Mail on Sunday itself will pay a whopping total of £1 single pound. Joining me now is Spiked Online's chief political writer, Brendan O'Neill. Brendan, thanks for joining me on the show. £1, that says more than anything else in this judgment. It certainly won't hurt the hip pocket, will it?
That's right. I think it does say a lot, actually. It really suggests that there were possibly holes in Meghan Markle's case and that the court didn't really stand beside her case as much as we were led to believe. And I think that I'm very worried about the case that she took against the Sunday Mail, because I think it really raises questions about press freedom and who gets to define the boundaries of press freedom. Should it really be powerful, influential people like members of the royal family, or should press freedom be something that we take a bit more seriously and we allow newspapers to publish stories that are in the public interest? And Meghan Markle's clash with her father, because of her position in Britain and in the royal family, was unquestionably a matter of public interest. So I think it was the wrong decision in the court anyway. The fact that she's only been awarded £1 in damages suggests that there are some people in that court who might not have taken her side as vociferously as we were told.
Yeah, quite right. And I think in the court of public opinion, whilst Markle will say that she was vindicated, this plus the expose that everything was designed in case it was leaked suggests that her credibility has been really damaged, to me anyway. Are you detecting any of that on the ground in the UK?
Oh, completely. Meghan Markle is not popular in this country. She is seen as someone who has damaged the royal family to a large degree. She has taken Prince Harry away and led him to do interviews with Oprah Winfrey in which he condemns his own family and says that they are backward and mean and cruel and everything else. And of course, they've spread rumours about racism within the royal family, and those kinds of things have made them very unpopular. The Queen is probably the most popular person in this country, probably one of the most popular people in the world. People don't like to see a 95-year-old woman having her reputation trashed by a couple of celebrity upstarts like Harry and Meghan. So she's not popular here. I think this case will probably have contributed to that unpopularity. And I think it will take a lot for Harry and Meghan to claw back the respect of the British people.
Well, that's for sure. I for one, really like the old-style Harry. He was a bit like his grandfather, and I thought he endeared himself to the public, and somehow he's been captured by Meghan Markle and he's changed and gone into a very different person. But for a couple who demand privacy, it seems they sure love to be in the news, and they do whatever they can to make sure they are. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, completely. The point I often make about Harry and Meghan is that they accuse us of invading their privacy, but actually it's them who invade our privacy all the time. They're constantly in the papers. They're always making podcasts. They do these interviews with Oprah Winfrey in front of millions and millions of people, telling us about the intimate details of their lives and their feelings. They're always thrusting themselves into our everyday lives. And I often think, why don't they leave us alone? You know, why are they constantly telling their story? So there's a large element of hypocrisy in relation to all of this. You know, Meghan Markle crying over the fact that a private letter she wrote to her father was published in a newspaper, but this is the same Meghan Markle who will go on TV with a wobbly chin and tell us that she was thinking of killing herself. So does she want privacy or not? That's the question. And most people think this demand for privacy is a bit of a show. And actually what Harry and Meghan want is good publicity and never any bad publicity.
Yeah, that's true. This is her best acting role ever. But let's move on to something a little bit more serious and more concerning. I mean, the Colston Four in the UK have been acquitted. Now, these were people who vandalised the public statue of Edward Colston, who I understand was a slave trader. But how do they get acquitted of such an act of vandalism? And what does it actually mean that they have?
Yeah, I find this case really worrying, actually. Edward Colston, as you say, was a slave trader. Of course, there are discussions to be had about what kind of statues we have in the UK. Should we have statues to people who were slave traders as well as being philanthropists, or should we reconsider those statues? There is always room for open democratic discussion. But what these people did as part of a bigger mob in June 2020, when the George Floyd protests were taking place, they tore the statue down and rolled it into the Bristol Harbour in the city of Bristol. And I just think this is the wrong way to go about things. And the fact that they have been acquitted, I think it sends a really worrying message, because what it suggests is that if you are offended by a statue, then you can criminally damage it. You can tear it down. This is what the message that this court case has implicitly sent to the nation. So my view is that public damage is public damage, whether you are attacking a statue of a slave trader or the statue of Nelson Mandela in Parliament Square. To my mind, it makes no difference. We have to have rules. We have to have democratic ways of doing these things. And we can't let mobs of people decide for themselves which statues to tear down and which statues to leave up.
Yeah, and more alarmingly, the law is meant to be blind, and you've got now effectively judges that are deciding what statues are morally worthy of attacking and what statues aren't. It's a very, very concerning point that's emerged over there, and it's not just in the UK, I have to say. Another thing that concerned me today, and I'm going to mention the person who can't be named, well, apparently, that's JK Rowling. I read today a school in Essex has actually named a house after her, has taken the name down due to this ongoing, brouhaha about her comments on transgender people. Now, to me, she's a cultural titan. She got children reading books again. There's the creative movies out of it, and she only spoke the truth about some of the concerns that many women have about the trans influence on the women's movement. Why can't we celebrate her influence? Why does she have to be cancelled?
I think the woke left's witch hunt of JK Rowling is really out of control now. So as you say, there's this latest case of a school taking down her name from one of its houses. That's actually happened before at other schools as well. And the latest scandal is now people are accusing her of anti-Semitism because of the goblins in the Harry Potter books or something. And there's been a Twitter storm saying JK Rowling's a racist, she's an anti-Semite. No evidence whatsoever. It's just another pile-on against this woman whose only crime was to express biological facts and to defend women's rights, the right of women to have their own spaces where men are not allowed to enter. And I think what we're witnessing is a very clear case that if you criticize the transgender ideology, or if you stand up for women's rights in a traditional sense, then you will be demonized, witch hunted, and publicly shamed. That is what the woke left is doing to JK Rowling. And they're sending a message to everyone else that if you try and say something similar, we will destroy you. It is deeply chilling and regressive. And I think we need a firmer pushback against this.
Yeah, we certainly do. But in the end, they will devour themselves because, quite frankly, they can't stand up to any withering sort of criticism or examination of their ideas. Brendan O'Neill, love your work. Thanks very much. And I'll keep reading you online, and I hope that we'll have you back on my show later in the year. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Corey.